A few housekeeping items. I'd like to make sure we do have a sign-in sheet going.
Just let you know what this is all about, so you can understand what we need to do here tonight. This park that we are addressing tonight has been the subject of meetings going back at least to 2005, some of them very much like this meeting where we have a large number of residents and park users. We do not have an expectation that at the committee meeting next week we're going to be fiddling with the design again. So tonight is the opportunity to talk about the design, fiddle with the design, so that the committee itself is presented with clear options to choose from.
Plan to build this park, if the consensus here is any version of option B, what is the timeline for that? And can DOT assure us that if that were to happen, it would happen per the original plan over winter? Clearly not this winter, but then we'd be looking at next October or November through the following spring.
We've had conversations with the FDA, the Federal Transit Administration, which funds this project, with money set aside for the World Trade Center, transportation money set aside for the World Trade Center. And their money, you know, a lot of that has gone to the Port Authority as costs have increased and schedules have gone on. So they are not giving us any more money. We have a little bit of overage that we can deal with, so we're somewhat limited. They also will not guarantee that they'll allow us to construct the park next year. I think they would, but there's no guarantee that they would allow us if we hold off for another year. We have to go back to the Arts Commission. So these are all things that need to be considered.
Sure.
But you'd anticipate it to be a similar schedule if we were to say, if we were able to get approval through the Commission on Public Design, I believe is the name, and by perhaps next October, there's no guarantee of that because that process takes a long time. It could take years. We would anticipate a similar schedule, October to May, perhaps next year, if one of the option Bs were selected.
Again, in the world where this has to happen, that is relatively good news. Two more quick questions.
To spread out the plans, say at either end of the table, and we'll hang plans up so that you can actually get up close. And Sydney and Richard, we played tag team because Sydney's done a lot of the presentations also throughout the working group process. And we'll have Richard go through the presentation tonight.
As the existing conditions, I believe everyone's familiar with the park. On the south side, you have the lawn, you have the playground. In the playground, you have the one thing that is for sure in the project is that the walkway and the bikeway will be built. So when the walkway and the bikeway come in, that reduces the size of the lawn and the playground and the rest of the park. The one thing that is for sure in the project is that the walkway and the bikeway will be built. So when the walkway and the bikeway come in, that reduces the size of the lawn and the playground and the rest of the park. So what came out from the last meeting was, you know, how much of the playground can you save? How much of it can be left as is? And how much of the lawn can be left as is? How much of the poplars can stay without affecting any of the other elements within the park? And those were the sort of parameters that we worked with. And what we did was we listened to everyone's concerns. We tallied up all the issues, and we went back and we spent the last week looking at this. And it's been quite an endeavor because it's been us at Stantec, Signy and her office, and the folks from 9A coming together to see how can this be done? How can we do this? How is this possible? It seems like a simple proposal, just leave it the way it is. But this entire park has been designed with utilities and drainage and lighting and all that sort of stuff. So just to pluck one piece of it out and leave it as it is really is a challenge, to say the least. So we've come up with 4 variations based on the information that we were given at the last meeting. In option B1, there was a desire to keep the basketball court for small children. And how would that affect the rest of the park? So in these 2 options, we actually put in the basketball courts that have been proposed from the other parks. And the trade-offs for that are that once you put the basketball courts in, the size of the basketball court interferes with one of the existing pear trees, so that pear tree would have to come down. In addition to that, you do have a ramp that provides access into the park. That ramp would have to be made, would also have to leave it, we have to put in an ADA accessible ramp to meet ADA. In option B2, we have, again, the basketball court with the ramp, and in this, we tried to save as many poplars as we could. And in this scenario, I believe we save 6 of the poplars. But in that case, to save the poplars, we'd have to move the lawn back. So the lawn, take out the basketball court, leave the park as is, maximize the space that you have within the existing park. B4, we just got rid of the poplars. We extended the lawn all the way to the edge of the playground, left the playground as is with the walkway, and extend the lawn. And one of the reasons that we did that, and speaking with the folks at BatteryPark City Park Conservancy, which is something we knew already and have been talked about for a while, the condition of the poplars, and I know that's sort of controversial. I mean, everybody, you know, there's very strong feeling. The most feasible option, and some of the things that, you know, in looking back at this project, we went back to some of the meetings that we had back in June and July. And the question has always been, or the concern has always been, can you build this park on time? And we've tried as hard as we can to build it on time. Back then in June and July, what we did was we identified early action items to make sure that we could move swiftly on.
Thank you. I think we have time for one more question. And then
The swing itself and or replace it, because otherwise we'll never call it the tires. It'll be always the old park that was called the tire, blah, blah, blah. And that's what brings those
Answer is
kids
yes.
there.
yeah, yes, yes.
At the last
Under any
meeting,
option.
at the
Okay.
last meeting, we said we would provide a true tire swing up to code.
Okay, and is community, they want the play area for the kids, or that's something you guys came up with?
Which play area?
The water park thing,
That was a request, yes.
that was a request, okay.
Your name, but the answer that I didn't hear to your question about the area we're losing is 6,000 square feet from West End to Albany Street. An additional comment about that is I understand Jeff's conclusion that nobody in this room has the power to change that. For the record, I think it is an outrage and a shame bordering on a crime that that space is being robbed from this community and that we're all being told we have to go along with it. That said, questions.